There's something in the mail from my mother.
It's in a high-end brand box. I wonder what it is. To my surprise, a high-end brand present arrived for my daughter from my mother-in-law. Ah, it's a school bag. As soon as I saw what was inside, I immediately threw it into the backyard. Then I set the school bag on fire and burned it.
Hey, what are you doing? Mom went to the trouble of buying it. You should pay for it.
I calmly told my furious husband. Did you see what's inside? Your mom is the worst. My name is Mika, a 37-year-old office worker. I've been married to Trevor for 8 years.
We're already 29 and we should get married before turning 30. You used to say you wanted to decide on marriage in your 20s, right, Mika?
Huh? You remembered that? That was something I said in a casual conversation when I was a university student. We were hanging out with a close group of friends, just having a light-hearted chat. Trevor remembered it. We didn't date during our student days. We were truly good friends, but we never developed any romantic feelings. However, things changed after becoming working adults. At that time, I was working for a company that could be called a shady company, where I was physically and mentally exhausted. I barely had a day off, maybe once a week if I was lucky. Looking back, I realized it was a clear violation of labor laws. But back then, I didn't even have the mental capacity to consider taking legal action against the company. I was grinding away at work, feeling like a lifeless shell every day. Then one day, Trevor came to my workplace.
Hey, Mika.
Trevor, what are you doing here?
And didn't you hear? You should have a full day of appointments with the sales department today.
Wait, huh? Trevor, were you working at that company?
Hey, don't tell me you've forgotten, Mika. That's just terrible.
Sorry, I'll guide you to the meeting room right away. And then Trevor and I started discussing work seriously at first. But once the conversation reached a certain point, he invited me to have lunch.
It's lunchtime, so let's grab a bite. I'll ask your boss if we can continue the meeting.
Huh? Okay. And after he talked to my boss, he took me outside the company and opened the car door.
All right, we're heading to the beach right now.
What? It's not lunch.
I bought sandwiches for both of us from a famous sandwich shop before we came here, so we're all set.
But what about work?
You got permission from your boss, and most of the work-related discussions are already sorted out, so it should be fine. Besides, I set up this sales talk specifically for this.
What do you mean?
I was worried that you were going through a tough time, so I came to help.
Trevor. A tightly wound thread inside me suddenly snapped. I was about to cry as hard as I could, but he said,
If you cry here, it'll look like I'm going to do something bad to you, Mika.
So I stopped myself. He told me to cry at the beach, and I burst into laughter. After that, we went to the beach. We listened to the sound of the waves, admired the sea, and enjoyed delicious sandwiches. It had been such a long time since I relaxed like this, and it felt like my troubled heart was slightly healed.
Don't push yourself. When you're going through a tough time, just say it. I'll always listen.
Yeah. At that moment, I think if he hadn't helped me, my heart would have broken. I decided to quit the company and change jobs. Thanks to that incident, Trevor and I quickly became closer and started dating. And after dating for about 3 years, we decided to get married. I believed that with him, I could have a happy married life. Of course, I was very happy when we were together, but in this marriage, there was quite a troublesome presence for me, and that was my mother-in-law. Trevor was her only son, so my mother-in-law doted on him. That's why she hated me from the start when I came to marry him. I don't consider you as my daughter-in-law, just so you know. That was the first thing my mother-in-law said to me.
Hey, Mom, what are you saying? That's rude all of a sudden.
Although Trevor warned my openly antagonistic mother-in-law about her behavior towards me, she continued to glare at me. And even after that, my mother-in-law found ways to treat me unpleasantly, What kind of wedding ceremony are you planning? Explain it properly. My mother-in-law forcefully asked me about the wedding plans, saying, "Oh, it's totally unacceptable. Your sense of style is just lacking." My mother-in-law belittles the wedding plans which Trevor and I have come up with. I try to communicate that it's not just my opinion, but Trevor is also involved in the planning process. She wouldn't listen when I said things like, "You're ruining the good ideas he has." And suddenly she started nitpicking and trying to change our wedding plan. Luckily, I managed to get Trevor to stop his mother's rampage, so we were able to have the wedding according to the plan we had come up with. I had been troubled by my mother-in-law's behavior even before getting married, and it continued to be the same after we got married. Mom, what's going on? You come home from work so late. I'm tired of waiting. Surprisingly, my mother-in-law was waiting for me in front of the house. What happened? Why did you come all the way to my house? I came to check if you're doing your household chores properly. Huh? Oh dear, the laundry isn't done. I was planning to do it on my day off when I have more time. I don't need excuses. And the room is not clean either. Please, don't just barge in without permission. Didn't I say I came to check? I don't need your checks. Please leave. You're causing trouble. What? You're so insolent for someone who's a daughter-in-law. Do you think you can get away with treating me like this? I'll tell Trevor about it. Being treated like this by my own daughter-in-law. Saying that, my mother-in-law angrily left. I sighed and explained the situation to my husband when he came home.
My mom is unbearable. I'll talk to her myself.
My husband said that and warned my mother-in-law, but she became even more furious and called me. How did you manage to manipulate Trevor? I would never say anything bad about myself.
Please, stop this. Why do you hold so much animosity towards me?
Well, it's because you're not suitable for Trevor.
That's for my husband to decide. It's not up to you.
You really infuriate me. Be more like a daughter-in-law should.
Saying that, my mother-in-law hung up the phone without permission. Her idea of being a daughter-in-law must be someone who blindly obeys her, but I will never bow to her demands. I've gained the strength to never yield to injustice from my experience working at a demanding company. So no matter what my mother-in-law does or says, I won't give in. It seemed that my mother-in-law was getting increasingly frustrated because I didn't back down. It seems she was caught yelling on the phone by my father-in-law and received a scolding. Later, my father-in-law came to apologize to me, and he asked me to report if my mother-in-law causes any more trouble or harassment. I felt grateful that my husband and father-in-law were on my side. Sometime later, I found out that I was pregnant. My husband was overjoyed to learn that we were expecting a child. So I'm finally going to be a father. I need to work even harder now. Seeing my husband's joy made me happy too. Of course, we informed my in-laws about the news. I didn't want to have any involvement with my mother-in-law, so my husband handled the communication with them. According to my father-in-law, my mother-in-law was also happy and congratulated us. Though I had my doubts if my mother-in-law was genuinely happy, my husband and I decided to visit my in-laws with a baby after giving birth.
Oh, what a cute baby. She resembles Trevor, so she'll grow up to be beautiful.
My in-laws were very delighted to have a granddaughter. For now, it seemed like my mother-in-law was in a good mood, which was a relief. I thought she might say something to criticize me, but she didn't say anything in particular. She seemed to be in high spirits, seeing her first grandchild. From that point on, my husband and I continued to interact with my in-laws while being cautious. Of course, there were no problems with my father-in-law, but I had to be careful because my mother-in-law might cause some trouble if I let my guard down.
In this way, we managed to live our daily lives without any major issues. But events have a way of happening when you least expect them. It was around the time when our daughter Lisa started elementary school.
Looks like something arrived for my mom.
My husband, who handled the delivery, came back with a cardboard box in his hands. It seems like it's addressed to Lisa. When my husband and I opened the cardboard box, we found a large and expensive-looking package inside. It's in a luxury branded box, but I wonder what it is. To our surprise, it was a luxury brand gift from my mother-in-law to our daughter. Why in the world would she give my daughter, who is only 6 years old, luxury brand goods? When I opened the box, there was a girl's school bag inside.
So this is a present from Mom for Lisa, huh? Hey Lisa, Grandma sent you a gift.
Oh, it's a school bag. Our daughter came out of her room and was delighted to see the gift. It seemed that my mother-in-law was kind to her granddaughter. I need to thank her later. That's what I thought, but suddenly I felt something was off. I had a strange feeling, so I decided to examine the school bag. What? What is this? As soon as I saw the contents, I immediately threw it into the yard. I took out a watering can and collected the fallen leaves in the yard. Then I set the school bag on fire and burned it.
Hey, what are you doing?
My husband widened his eyes and rushed towards me.
Mom went through the trouble of buying it for us. Even if you don't like her, this is going too far. Practice some self-control.
I calmly replied to my furious husband. Did you see what was inside? Your mother is despicable.
Huh?
I extinguished the burning school bag with water from a hose. There's something that looks like a razor blade in the shoulder pad area.
What?
If Lisa had happily carried the school bag as it is, she would have gotten injured.
No way, my mom wouldn't do such a thing.
I had a feeling something was off. I've never heard of a luxury brand making school bags. She probably wanted to delay the discovery of the razor blade by diverting attention with an expensive item. Maybe my mother-in-law didn't think it through that much, but either way, it's unforgivable.
Yeah, you're right.
Angry and trembling, my husband and I headed towards my in-laws' house.
Oh, Trevor, what's going on? You came out of the blue. There's something I want to ask you too, Dad.
Saying that, my husband and I entered my in-laws' house.
Mom.
Oh, Trevor, how nice of you to come. Did you come to play today? It's a pity that Mika is here too, but I'm glad you came. It seemed like my husband thought my father was just going along with it without knowing about the school bag incident.
What did you do, Mom?
Huh?
I'm talking about the school bag.
Oh, it arrived.
What's this about the school bag, Trevor? Dad, you didn't know either. Well, I guess that makes sense. If you knew, you would have definitely stopped it and gotten angry. What happened? Mom put the school bag inside a luxury brand box and sent it to us. But there was a razor blade inside the shoulder pad part of the school bag. What? Why did you try to hurt Lisa, Mom?
When my husband asked that, my mother-in-law smirked and laughed. Well, the fact that she's not here means my plan was successful. It's a simple story. It's because our granddaughter has grown to have a face identical to her mother's, my daughter-in-law.
What?
If Lisa had resembled you, Trevor, of course, I would have loved her. But seeing that woman over there, who looks exactly like her, infuriated me. That's why I aimed for an opportunity to hurt her. Upon hearing my mother-in-law's words, both my husband and I trembled with disbelief.
Are you kidding me? I never thought you, Mom, could be such a twisted person. Even if you dislike Mika as your daughter-in-law, it's insane to try to harm your little granddaughter."
My husband shouted angrily, but my mother-in-law remained unfazed. "I don't regret it. It's all that insolent daughter-in-law's fault. That terrible wife who took Trevor away from me deserves to suffer. I hope she experiences a painful lesson." Saying that, my mother-in-law laughed. I was desperately trying to restrain myself from lashing out. "Enough already. Are you out of your mind?" "Say whatever you want. I don't regret anything. It's your carelessness that caused harm to your own daughter." My mother-in-law must have assumed that Lisa was injured. Unfortunately, Lisa isn't injured. "Huh?" I immediately burned that backpack, and Lisa is currently staying at my parents' house. "What? I can't believe it. What have you done?" My mother-in-law began to get agitated.
"That's our line. What the hell are you doing, Mom? Trying to hurt our precious Lisa for a ridiculous reason? We will never forgive you."
The plan failed, and my mother-in-law bit her lower lip in frustration. At that moment, my father-in-law spoke up.
"Do you understand what you've done? You're trying to hurt your own precious grandchild. I will never forgive you. We're getting a divorce right away."
Divorce? Wait a minute, please."
"Shut up! I told you before that if you cause any major problems again, we're getting a divorce."
"If you divorce me now, I'll be all alone."
"I don't care. What you were trying to do is a crime. I can't live with a criminal."
Finally, after being shouted at by my father-in-law, my mother-in-law seemed to realize the gravity of her actions. "Mika, Trevor, I'm sorry. I've done something unforgivable."
"Mom, you're completely out of your mind. A sane person wouldn't do something like that. We're cutting ties with you."
Trevor!" My mother-in-law slumped down on the spot. Afterwards, she was forcibly expelled by the father-in-law. Since the relatives had already been informed of the mother-in-law's outrageous actions, no one was there to help her. Completely isolated, it seems that my mother-in-law is living a lonely life in a cheap, rundown apartment. We have informed our relatives that if my mother-in-law comes near us even a little, we will call the police. My mother-in-law seems frightened and hasn't contacted anyone. On the other hand, our visits to the in-laws have become easier now that my mother-in-law is gone. My father-in-law is happy to see his granddaughter, and our daughter is very fond of him. We hope to continue living happily as a family from now on. Trying to harm a young girl like that, isn't that clearly a crime? It's just beyond comprehension. Such abnormal behavior leaves me speechless. Anyway, it's a relief that your daughter wasn't injured. Please, continue to cherish each other and enjoy the happy days together. Thank you for watching until the end. If you liked it, please subscribe to our channel. Now, let's meet in the next video.